All right, Terry Caliendo, Dedicated Managers, back again. Video number 5, it looks like we're on. Started out, we did the overview, then a project outline, and then I gave some setup and install instructions. I actually missed talking about installing Git to work with GitHub. So I did do an upload in this video, I believe, back here. I uploaded some stuff using Git, but I never showed you how to install it. I'll have to go back and put a a video in the middle here on how to install Git. It's just basically search for Git and install it however you can. It might come with Visual Studio Code. I'm not sure. I've just had it on my machine for so long that I've forgotten how I actually got it there. I've done it a few different ways. So let's talk about where we're at. So previously we talked about all these steps. This was the first 4 videos. So now we're on to adding some pages. We're going to add some public and some private pages. I'm going to kind of blast through this. It's not going to be an extreme learning session as far as Vue or Vuetify goes. Just a basic overview. I'll try to point out a few things, but I'm probably going to sound pretty sporadic and not going to go too in depth with things. So don't get too mad at me. That's not what this whole thing is about. I'm trying to give a small primer. But I could spend hours on this part right here if I really wanted it to do it right. But I'm just going to blow through it and just show how to add some pages, a quick navigation, and the main area. I'll try to describe a few things, but again, it's late. It's the end of a long day, and my mind is pretty fried. So we'll see how I do. Hopefully it'll be understandable. If not, give me another chance. This is where I'm really going to put my time in and try and make things look good or make things understandable. But I'm probably going to blow through this. So anyway, let's get started. Let's pull up the code here. Well, let's pull up the page here. I've still got the development environment running, right? We're running on localhost. That member shouldn't be there. That's from something that I was trying earlier. So here's the main page. We don't have any other pages right now. We just have this. Last thing we did was install Vuetify and upload it and save it to the Git repository. Commit it and save it to the Git repository. So let's take a look at the code here. Remember, this is the app view. Let's talk real quick about how things get loaded. I've talked about this in other videos. Again, I'm going to blast through this, but everything starts in your index.html. This is what gets loaded to the browser. This is all that's in the browser. If we go and look at our application and we do a view source, you'll see that that's all that's there. You'll see that the div app is there, and then this gets injected. It's not in the index.html. Everything else, all of this is in the index.html. So let's take a look at it. Here's that index.html. Everything is there except for where the build files will be injected. So basically, we create a div and we give it an ID, and then we tell Vue where that ID is and how to and tell Vue to take over it. And then when we run npm run build like that, if I was to hit enter, Webpack would do a whole lot of work. All the scripts that are used in the scaffolding process that was created by Vue CLI, a whole lot of work would get done and get thrown into a, I haven't built one yet, it would get thrown into a distribution folder, and then you'd take that distribution folder and you'd put it on the web somewhere. And right here is where that the app.js that gets compiled, all this stuff gets compiled into pretty much one file, and it gets injected into here. And then that script runs, and then Vue takes over the div. So that's what we're seeing here. This is where it's injected after when the build is built. That script gets thrown in there, and that's why it's not there yet. So pretty cool stuff. And then what ties the Vue to this app? If we take a look at main.js, that is the initial JavaScript file. You can see we import Vue, so Vue is the app that we're running, and then ultimately we create a new Vue instance and we mount it on that app div with the ID app. So that's a brief overview of how it gets instantiated. You can see we also bring in the router and the Vuex store. Those are two things that we're going to use later on. This is all done for us by the the scaffolding, the Vue CLI. Just put all of this together for us. We didn't have to even start our program. It's just initially built for us. Life is good. We don't even have to understand how Webpack works. All we have to do is know how to write npm run build, and for the server npm run serve to run the development server locally. So that's pretty much that. Now, as far as how we get to the app.vue, notice that we import app. We've got this variable app that comes from app.vue. So we're importing app.vue into our main app, and then it's in this variable app, which we then send in this render function. We tell Vue that the first thing we want it to render is our app template. So that's how we get to the app template. If I open up the app template there, you'll see that this is the first thing that's run. This is our base code. This would be what we'd call like our framework. See our toolbar right here. There's a toolbar. That is this up here. That's why we see Vuetify hello should be within our toolbar. There's the toolbar. Vuetify hello is within the toolbar tags. And then, there's that material design. We're actually going to get rid of that because we don't need it. And let's change Vuetify hello to, auth 0 with Vue/Vuetify. It's probably a little too long. I'll save that. We'll see that hot reload on the front end. And now let's go about talking about what we need to do next with our application. So I said we wanted to create some routes and some buttons, so some navigation. So this is already a button. I'm going to copy this and paste it a few times, and we'll just create a few buttons that's going to mimic a navigation. I'm not going to make this look amazing. You can make things look amazing with Vuetify. You can do navigation drawers and all kinds of stuff that will make it look incredible. But I'm just going to make this simple because I'm trying to show how auth 0 works. So I'm just going to create a simple navigation across the top, and we'll use those buttons to load in various pages. That'll be very simple as well. So let's get into that. First thing, I'm going to just redo this button here. Let's clean up the code here. I like things on one line when they're short. We don't need this target as blank. And let's bring this back to here. So we don't need this this class. This MR2 means it's Vuetify class. Vuetify brings that in. It means margin right, give it a spacing of 2. I'm going to move it up a level onto this button. We don't need it in the span, and we don't even need the span. Just going to call this, we'll just call this button for now. I'll get rid of this span, and we'll clean up this code real quick so I can really quickly. So let's see what we've got now. We should have a button that has a little bit of space on the right side of it. So if I'll hot save it, I'll save it, hot reload, there's our button now with the word button in it. So let's go back here, and I am going to copy and paste that a few times. Let's do four navigation items. We'll do an about, a contact, and a home page, and then we'll do our protected, which would be members. So those would be our links. So if I save that, that's what we've got: home, about, contact. So you can start to see the structure of a navigation. Again, it's not pretty, but or not amazing, but that's how you might lay out a website, right? For as far as navigation is goes, you should probably have those pieces. Now, to relate, we need to do routing here. We're not going to do href here. Href, when you do this puts a typical link that's going to reload the application. So if I was to do, let's do, we'll change this to /home because that's what I want my route to ultimately be, and this one to about, should be /about, and then this one to /contact, and this one to members. So let's see what happens when we do that. So it should be reloaded, hot reloaded. When I click on home, you notice it's going back and thinking and reloading the page. When I click about, it's going back and thinking and reloading the page. That's not what a single web application, single page application is. I've turned this into a multiple page application. I'm actually just downloading the same thing over and over. So I'm not doing this right. I need to go back to the code, and I don't want to use href. I want to use 2 here. And what that's going to do is that is going to tell Vuetify to use the routing component for this link. And sorry, that should be a /members. So we want Vuetify to link to the routing component and just change the content area to these pages. And I'll talk about that in a second. But let me save this now, and we'll go back to here. And if I click home, you'll see the routing is changing. Nothing's changing here because the Vuetify actually broke the template. I'll talk about that in a second. But watch the routing. Watch the route up there. When I click about, it's going to change to about. Contact change to a contact, and members change to members. So I've got routing working, at least as far as the URL is concerned, but nothing's changing. But I'm not reloading. Remember before that we got the spinning circle and it was going out to the web and retrieving. Now we're not doing anything. We're just we're not causing a reload of the page, but we are getting a change up in the routing. So now we got to go tell that routing to change this content area. So the first thing we have to do is go and create these routes. So this home and this about, and where do we do that? We do that in the router. So here's the router. I should double click that so it stays open. And so we've already got some paths set up. This one down here is an example of how to do lazy loading. I thought I didn't install lazy loading when I did the install, so I'm not sure what's happening there. I must have been confused about one of the parameters on the install. I apologize for that. Again, you know, I'm not a perfect expert at all this stuff. So I just wanted to copy those routes so that I've got a place to start. And so the first one we're going to have /bhome. That'll be our home page. And then we'll have /about. Oops, struggling here. Hey, about. And the name parameter is just the name. If I want to call the routing later, you can learn about that. I'm probably not going to show an example, but you can do routing by name as opposed to by path. And so I have to give it a component. I'll talk about that in a second. And so let me fill all these in. What was it? It was home, about, contact. Oh. And the members. All right, so that's set up. Now I screwed up that route because I want my / to be home. I don't want to have to go to /home to be the home page. So let's go back to the app where I put my links and make sure that that lines up. So these 2s are lining up with the paths. So obviously the /about is going to load the path /about. This is done by a regular expression by the router engine, and this would be an exact match. I'm not using regular expressions. I could, but this is an exact match. So when I click on here, this is going to match this path, first come first serve. If I had a second about down here, the first one would get served, I'm pretty sure. So it's going to load the about component. Now about is not defined anywhere. Home is defined. So the home component will load this home import, which is just a variable, which contains the view for the home view. So we've got to add the views for the other routes. So we have to change about, contact, and members, and about, contact, and members. Now, so the route here, the path, maps to the path that it matches. That path tells Vue to load the component home. Home is imported up here from Vue's home. So the same thing with, follow the same path and you end up with about through the about route. And you see we need to load a Vue about.view. Now we did get an about installed automatically, and we did get a home installed automatically, but we don't have contact and members. So we have to quickly create new files called contact and, oops, no, I don't want a new folder. Members. So there we go. Let's open them all up. And I'm just going to make these very simple. Let's take the about. Let's clean it up. I don't need anything special going on. I'm just going to make this very simple. This is an about page. I'm going to save that. Whoops, what have I done? Save that. And do the same thing with members. Whoa, crazy going on here. Crazy copying and pasting. Members. Home, I'm just going to wipe everything out of here and call this is a home page. And then contact, I'm going to do the same thing. This is a contact page. So now I've got each of my pages available. This is a members page. Let's be grammatically correct, right? Let's be insane. So when I click on these buttons, they should load through the router. They should load these guys. We talked about that. Now, if I go and do that, it's not going to work, but let's try it anyway. It should have all well, let's save everything. Let me make sure it's all saved. Let's do a file, save all, make sure everything's saved. Come back here. Should have hot reloaded, but let's make sure that it is reloaded. And now, home is just the slash. That should take us to the slash. About should take us to about, but we should be getting, I thought we tied in, or it looked like we tied in all the routing, so why isn't our content pane being updated? And that is because, believe it or not, when Vuetify, I'm pointing to the wrong thing there, when Vuetify loaded, remember we added Vuetify after installing Vue. Vuetify took over this app.view and it rewrote it. And I don't know if it's a bug right now or what, but they put hello world here in our content area where the router was before. So I have to go back and put the router in, the router component, and I think it's Vue router view. It's router view. Thanks for the help there, Visual Studio Code. So now what happens is this router component knows to inject. It injects the page that it's loading. So the home page, if it's the home page, it's supposed to inject it into the router view component. So there we can put, whatever we're routing to, we can inject it anywhere we want. And we're injecting it into this template that has a toolbar at the top and a content at the bottom. We could put a footer down here if we wanted to. We could do all kinds of things, but that's not what this video is about. So I'm going to save everything. Let's go back and see if now it's working. So there it is. I see it. It already hot reloaded. So when I click on home, I get a home page. When I click about, I'm on the about page. Contact. It did work. I don't know why that didn't work. And members, this is a members page. Now, ultimately, we're going to protect this page, right? So let's just go back and be clear. This is a members page that will be protected. And so when we go back, it hot reloaded. So now it's more clear that as I click each one, this members page now, when I click it, I shouldn't be able to get the page if I'm a public viewer. I should be redirected to a login or whatever we decide to do as far as protecting it. But it shouldn't be able to be loaded until that protection is available or until that protection mechanism has been bypassed. And we'll talk about that and some security stuff. And that's all the stuff to come ahead in the upcoming videos. So hopefully that was a good primer. There's a lot more to this. This was a very brief overview. You could, again, I could go and spend hours making this look better and teaching all about it. I've done a little bit more in some of the other videos, and that should probably be a good lead into our YouTube page here. Please subscribe if you get a chance. We're at 72 subscribers. I'd love to see that get up to 100. I'm going to throw a party when we get up to 100. It's not really going to be a big party. It's just going to be me going woohoo. And so I've just done it there. So you're probably not extremely motivated to hit subscribe because you've already heard me go woohoo. And that's what I'm going to do when you hit subscribe and I hit 100 subscribers. I'm going to throw a big party where I go woohoo. And that's about that. So if you're looking for more knowledge about Vue, take a look at the playlists. I do a lot more talking about how Vue works in this video. Again, it's not fully comprehensive, but it's pretty good. And finally, Terry Caliendo, Dedicated Managers. Thanks for playing along. If you have any project work or you need any professional help, please give us a call. If you dial up the website there, hit the contact button. You can call us on the 800 number. Send something on the form or send an email. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you out. We can take on just about anything you've got. Send it our way. We'd love to help you out. So again, Terry Caliendo, tail end of a long day. It's 10:35 on December 3rd. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Hopefully this video was clear. It's actually the second time I've done it. I redid it because I thought the first one was horrible. I am a little bit of a perfectionist, even though I'm trying not to be and just blow through these videos. So some of them are good, some of them are rough, and it depends on when I feel like going back and fixing things. So anyway, Terry Caliendo, Dedicated Managers. Our work for clients is always top notch. Never hold back on the work for the clients. So thanks a lot. Hope to hear from you. Have a great day. Happy coding. See you in the next video.